Last week, we saw our Kansas City Chiefs lose a heartbreaker to the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday night, set us to 2-3. The week started off terrible. The days were looking grim. We didn't know if the Chiefs were even going to make the playoffs. But man, how things change in just a week. Welcome in Chiefs Kingdom to Chiefs Latest. I am your host, your happy host, Calvin Silvers. As I mentioned, I was not very happy last week, but this week, whole different story. Chiefs get a 30-17 win over one of the NFC's best teams. That's right, over the Detroit Lions. Gets the team back to 500. We're going to dissect everything that happened on Sunday night, including getting into some trade talks. But before we do, let's just help each other out. We're all in a good mood. We're all happy on this Monday. So since you're happy, you should go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also turn on those notifications because we have daily videos here at Cheifs Latest. That's right, daily videos, Monday through Friday. You're not going to want to miss any of the news, rumors, or actions regarding this Kansas City Chiefs teams, especially with Rashee Rice coming back in week 7, folks. That's right, he's making his return. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, as it not only helps me in the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to start with the offense because the offense, honestly, was a pretty well-oiled machine. Like I said, that 30-17 rout against the Lions, they exposed a secondary that was missing 5 defensive backs. Because of this, Patrick Mahomes, with his zone shredding smarts, he carved up that Detroit defense, 257 passing yards, while the total offense had 355 yards. That was a season worse for a Lions team that was top 10 in defense. Travis Kelce, he led with 6 catches for 78 yards. It was a throwback to just a few seasons ago when Kelce looked like himself. Vintage Kelce, he was finding the soft spots all night. Juju Smith-Schuster, he got involved early. He had that crossing route for a big gain, and his blocking throughout the game just set a tone, proving that this wide receiver core has got more juice than last year, and that's why the team is more confident in this 3-3 team than what they were at this point last season. Isaiah Pacheco snapped his slump, finally, 12 carries, 51 yards, 4.2 yards per carry. He brought back those angry chain-moving runs that outpaced Mahomes' legs, finally, for once this season. That's what we want Pacheco to do. Yes, his vision, still not the best, but if he can get you 3 to 4 yards on first down and second down, you're not behind the chains. That's what Pacheco did. Mahomes, though, again, he was electric. He has been playing fantastic. He took advantage of linebacker coverage. He went 13 of 17 for 165 yards and a touchdown when targeting that type of coverage. Plus, he went 14 of 15 for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns on quick passes, meaning he got the ball out in less than 2.5 seconds. When he was doing that, he posted a 147.1 rating. It was just fantastic game plan, fantastic looks that Mahomes was given. The Chiefs even had some red zone razzle-dazzle. That's right. Xavier Worthy's 9-yard touchdown came off a slick release against a corner's jab where he missed. And Hollywood Brown, his 2 scores, one from 9 yards out and one from 3 yards out, including that wide open, shallow cross. It sealed the deal and went up 20-17. The Chiefs used 11 personnel on just 33.9% of plays. That kept Detroit in their base defense. It was opening lanes for those quick jabs to Worthy, those quick jabs to Brown, those quick jabs to Juju Smith-Schuster, those quick jabs to Travis Kelce. It all worked. And then Jalen Moore, subbing for Justin Simmons, at one point allowed just 1 pressure and 24 pass blocks. So that now raises the question, if he should be in the right tackle spot, although Jawan Taylor, besides the penalties, usually does good when it comes to pass blocking. This team also had to play aggressive. You're going against the Lions. You know that they're going to go for it every chance that they can get on 4th down, especially against the Chiefs, because they want to keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. They want to extend their drives. Now the Chiefs, they were down 3-0. They had to go for it on 4th down. They showed some guts, and it obviously paid off with a touchdown. You just had to play this game. You knew you had to play this game. Again, Mahomes, 1,069 yards and 11 touchdowns over his last 4 games. Plus Kelce, Brown, Pacheco, they all had big nights. It drove a 33.3% touchdown rate so far this season. That's KC's best since 2018. Yes, I know this record isn't as good as it was last year at this point, but this team is better. They also had a healthy 6.1 yards per game. That was before all the kneel downs that they had. So, facing an aggressive Lions team, the Chiefs' low 11 personnel usage, their quick pass clinic, it neutralized Detroit's depleted secondary. The threat of Worthy, the threat of Thornton, who actually did not even get targeted on Sunday night, made the safeties play back. And the Chiefs used the quick jab passes to move the ball. It was just really smart game plan. I was pleased with the offense in this one. Pacheco looked like his vintage self. Mahomes was looking like his old self as well. The offensive line held up well, even though with Simmons being out. And all the wide receivers played well, both in catching and blocking. So really, not too many complaints here from me when it comes to the offense. But now we're going to switch to the defense. We're going to unpack this Chiefs defense because it had its early struggles. But they did bounce back with a late game surge that brought a little bit of confidence back in me. But Detroit came out swinging, marching 71 yards, 15 plays, over 9 minutes and 30 seconds on their opening drive. That was like the fastest first quarter I've ever seen. Jared Goff played great, 23 or 29, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was picking apart the secondary like it was a practice drill. And the defensive line, the reason that Goff was able to do that was because we were getting no push early. We were giving Goff all day. He had 3.5 seconds on a deep cross to Jameson Williams, followed by a 26-yard strike to Sam Laporta. This all happened on the second drive alone, and the Lions took a 10-6 lead. Again, early struggles for this defense, especially trying to get pressure. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, they ran free early. They were untouched for yards upfield. Honestly, they were gashing our front. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he stayed efficient, though the Chiefs did keep him off the board. That was huge, but he still had an efficient game. Jamari Connor, however, was on the wrong end of a play where Sam Laporta came down with the ball. I think there was only like a 23% completion percentage there. I get it. It was a spectacular catch, but I'm still not a fan of Jamari Connor being out there as our option. But the tide, it turned in the fourth. With Chris Jones, he did end up with 4 pressures, 3 under 2.5 seconds, and Charles Omenihu finally sparked the backfield. They got some chaos on the Lions' 7th drive. They got the sack. And then from there, Detroit's offense honestly crumbled. Leo Chanel's run-stuffing grit, Jalen Watson's lockdown play, it stood out. And Brian Cook, he brought some physicality. He was coming downhill. He had a couple great tackles. I'm not sure why Detroit got away from what was working. They scored on their first 2 offensive possessions, and they had a nice third drive that stalled in Chiefs territory on the St. Brown drop. 3 of the next 4 drives ended in 3-and-outs, and that was a byproduct of softening the attack. Jones and Omenihu's fourth quarter disruption, paired with Chanel and Watson's clutch plays, it flipped the script. It held Detroit scoreless late and proved that this defense can lock in when it matters. But the pass rush was really disappointing for me, and I still think our secondary has some issues. I'm not quite sold fully yet on this defense, where if you asked me just a few weeks ago, I would have said I trust the defense again over the offense. But now, from what I've seen, I'm really trusting this offense over the defense, at least right now. Well, let's shift gears to the penalties and special teams, because that's going to be a hot topic, because the Chiefs came out of this one clean. That's right, clean, but we'll get to that in a second, because miscues and discipline did flip the game, except this time, it wasn't KC. In fact, early on, Kansas City, they dodged a bullet when Jared Goff's receiving touchdown from David Montgomery was nullified due to an illegal alignment. Goff never got set after shifting from under center. So yes, that was the correct call from the refs there. I don't want to hear anything about that. That kept the Chiefs from going down 7-0 early on. And then on the Lions' third down, we talked about it earlier, St. Brown's 4th-and-1 drop, despite Goff's clean delivery under pressure, handed KC the ball back, leading to a quick score. The Chiefs, after a sloppy 13 penalties for 109 yards in Week 5, squeaky clean, folks. 0 flags. Meanwhile, the Lions, they did get hit hard with some penalties. Rocky Sin's pass interference on Kelsey set up a drive at the 18. Aiden Hutchinson's roughing the passer penalty. When KC led 20-17, that gifted us a first down, and that paved way for a score later on the drive. Harrison Butker's mixed extra point after the opening touchdown, already having missed 3 extra points this season, and he's also missed 3 field goals. It's unacceptable. While this one, again, didn't cost them, those numbers are not acceptable for someone with the 4th highest salary cap hit in the game. I can't deal with this because it's going to come down to a point. He already cost us with one of his kicks off a kickoff where he gave the Jags the ball in the 40. It's going to come down where he's going to cost us late in the season. And maybe even the playoffs when you can't risk any of that, when you don't have a game the next week if you lose. I'm very scared of what is coming down with Harrison Butker. Also, though, going back to just some drama within the game, a questionable Kelsey catch out of halftime. To me, it did look like a non-catch, but it wasn't reviewed in time, so it doesn't matter, and it let KC keep the momentum. So despite all this and everything I talked about, the good news is we can look ahead, and Rashee Rice returns next week. 100-plus catches, over 1,200-plus receiving yards, and 9 touchdowns in 20 career games. I promise is going to be a massive boost, especially with over half his grabs moving the chains, giving us first downs. It's going to be huge for this offense. And then last but not least, Brian Branch was being a baby. It's not acceptable for what he did after that game. And it doesn't showcase what this Lions organization is. Dan Campbell came out, apologized after the game. Really appreciate that. Said that that wasn't going to fly in the Lions organization. Will he be sat out for a game? Will he really be disciplined from the Lions organization? I don't know, but after his scuffle, you best believe the NFL is going to get involved. You best believe he's probably going to get fined for something. Will that change his ways? I don't know. Will the Lions move on? He is a factor for them, so I don't think they're just going to let him go. But he does have some problems with how he acts, and as you can see, it is weighing on Dan Campbell and the Lions. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to look ahead to how the Chiefs can keep their momentum after this win. And their pass rush, as I mentioned, it needs a little boost. So enter Bradley Chubb, the Dolphins' edge menace, who could be a trade target for Miami's 1-5 tire fire right now. Chubb's numbers of 4 sacks, 15 tackles, 4 quarterbacks hit, 1 forced fumble, 1 recovery, and 67% of snaps. That shows that he still got it. His career 39.5 sacks in 73 games, including 13.5 with Miami, prove that he's a consistent disruptor. At 6'4", 275 pounds, Chubb's explosive first step, the bull rush power, and versatile moves, the ability to stand up or play hand down, makes him a sack-hunting spark. He draws blockers. That's going to free up Chris Jones. His knack for forcing fumbles, thriving in high-leverage spots. This is going to elevate Casey's average. Yes, average pass rush. His size, his speed, it would complement Karlaftis. It's going to create a dual-edged threat that forces quarterbacks to scramble into Jones' lap. But Miami's cap crunch, $12.3 million hit in 2025, $31 million in 2026-2027, and their rebuild vibe could net KC Chubb for a 6th or 7th round pick, making him a rental pass rusher. With Rashee Rice back next week, adding Chubb, it really could make this squad a real contender. Well, that is all that I have on this lovely, that's right, lovely Monday. We're going to have a good week, Chiefs Kingdom. I just know it. Let me know in the comments what you thought about Sunday night's game, and would you like to see Bradley Chubb on this roster? If you haven't already, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Once again, you are listening to Cheifs Latest. I'm your host, Calvin Silvers, and until next time, have a good one.